Okay. Well, listen, we are live. This is D Horace Towns from Riviera Beach, and I am blessed to have a moment to speak with the amazing and honorable Congresswoman Sheila McCormick, Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick. How are you doing today?
I am great. I'm super excited to be here with you.
Okay. The reason I really wanted to do this is because I've known you for years, even before you got elected. I've seen what you did, and that's important to me to see what people do in between the years of elections. And you've been real adamant. I mean, you've been really impactful in the community. So, first off, congratulations on your achievement for District 20 as our Congresswoman. But second of all, like right now, you're on the go, you're getting driven. So I know this conversation is going to be fast. What does a day what does a day look like for a congresswoman? Because many in our community are used to seeing or even seeing our congress people. Like to see you everywhere when you're in town, they're not used to that. So what does a day look like for our congresswoman?
Well, Monday and Friday, we're on the Hill. I'm actually in DC. I fly out either Friday or on Saturday morning. And when I fly out, we just have events. We try to get out to the community. We have our mobile clinic, our mobile office that goes around. We do casework. We attend events. Sundays, we're visiting all the churches from Broward to Palm Beach. So you're always on the go. During the week, that's where we get a lot of the work done. So whatever I'm hearing on the ground during the weekend, that's what I really bring into DC. We also have the importance of the town halls is because I get like right hands-on information right here and right now, which was imperative when we started seeing the housing crisis come on board. We were having town halls, we were doing surveys, and everybody started saying, hey, we have an issue with housing, we have an issue with housing. So before we actually started talking about housing as an issue in Congress, my office knew, and we knew because we were talking to people on a regular basis. Um, Now, how the week looks like in DC is totally crazy. We start having meetings at 8 a.m., which are on Zoom, and we start having in person at 9, and we're just having, and that's congressional meetings. Then we have caucus meetings. Then we are voting, and some nights we're voting until 2 a.m. Most members live 15 minutes away from actual voting. So anytime you get that buzz, if you go home around 7 and you hear your phone vibrating and you get that notice saying get in here, you have to get in and start voting. So we voted before until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. When you got elected, this was my issue. Well, it's not even my issue. I have a problem in our community because I've supported you, and I think a lot of people take advantage of the miseducation. That's just a real thing. That's a real thing, and I'm going to say it. Politically, in some of our communities, we're just not participating in the voting process. We don't understand the political process as far as bills and how things work. Can you speak on, because you've only been in office a couple months, but everyone is excited. I've heard misinformation about your pitch for the $1,000.
Yeah, so I thank you for that question. The reason why it's so important is because when I ran, we really were talking about the economic stimulus and the economic help that was necessary for our district. So we talked about the People's Prosperity Plan and about the payments, the stipends that we wanted to follow to families that were under 700, making less than $75,000 a year. We put forth the bill, and we've been having discussions on the bills. It's in ways and means. And in addition to that, as we're waiting for it to get through the legislative process, we actually allocated for calendar year 2023 $3.2 million to go to Catholic charities to do just that, step into the gap and actually give $1,000 stipend or give $300 stipends or $500 stipends based on what the need is. Now, what we found while I was in DC fighting for everybody and making it happen, there's been a misinformation campaign saying, where's my $1,000? Totally circumventing the fact that this was a legislative position. This was a bill that I put forth, and it's going through the legislative process. And I've even heard, my opponent get up there and say, "Well, people were waiting on it. You didn't say that." I ran for Congress. As a member of Congress, we put bills forth. We actually try and make it happen for the people based on their needs. So I actually ended up sending out accountability tool, which tells people what the steps are. Because what we noticed that the reason why the misinformation campaign was even successful in some areas was because you're right. A lot of people didn't understand that bills have to get passed through the House of Representatives, go to the Senate, and then they go to the president. Much less, they didn't realize that it actually takes almost a year to get it done. And that many of the time also, we find that unless it's an emergency circumstance, it has to go through all the committees, and that actually does take time. So I appreciate you allowing us to really talk about it. But what we noticed also is that if we're going to start having more participation in the district, we are responsible for teaching everyone law, the legislation, and how we go through the process. What's concerning is that you have people who are intentionally trying to deceive the district, intentionally trying to deceive the people to make them disgruntled. And the reason why it's so important right now for that not to happen, because we need everyone to come out and vote in this midterm. We need everybody to come out and vote to make sure we have enough people present so we can actually turn the state blue. But we need enough people to actually fight right now with us as we're fighting to make sure we're prioritizing people and not playing political games. These kinds of misinformation campaigns, we usually see them with Trump. He's the father of the lies, father of all these different misconceptions and selling it. So to see that happening now on the Democratic side is disappointing. And I think personally it's kind of disgusting to see it coming from our own. We got to have a standard in this district. And I believe that we have more people who are interested in seeing honesty and truth. So we have to reject those false narratives that are there to kind of get us to eat our own and fight ourselves.
I thank you for that because, like I said, I knew the person that you succeeded, and we had a relationship as well. I don't think how maybe we're starting to see it. People don't know better until they actually get better. Like you're in the local restaurants. I mean, I personally don't know how you do it, but that's what I love about it because I say oftentimes the people that are the most impactful don't make it in the office. And to see you get in office and you didn't disappear, you're always, whether it's Washington, whether it's Florida, you're always somewhere. So I personally don't know how you do it because I know you have a beautiful family as well. So that takes some commitment. But I'm gonna ask you one more question about this crisis. I'm a housing commissioner in Riviera Beach, and almost every day, I'm getting a call from someone affected by the housing crisis in some kind of capacity, whether it's a landlord that just, say, which business wise I can understand and saying they can get more or, some bad stuff happening, but there's definitely a need for housing. A lot of good people can't get houses despite, the need for it. Can you speak on the housing crisis and how will you address it, or what are you already doing?
Well, we noticed, like I mentioned, we actually saw there was a housing crisis brewing. The housing crisis right now in the state of Florida, especially in Palm Beach, is one of the biggest that we've seen in the entire country. So it's really important that I paid as much attention and dealt with Palm Beach as much as possible. That's why we had the Secretary of HUD actually come into the district, Marcia Fudge, and I needed her to come in so she could see the district for herself and understand that it's not just a low income housing crisis, but it's a workforce housing crisis. We have professional and blue collar people who can't find houses, especially in Palm Beach. There's not enough housing being built. A lot of people will say, oh, well, we need more Section 8 stipends, but how are you going to have more Section 8 stipends when there's no housing? So what we've been intentional about is been bringing money in to not only build housing, but having programs through the county. So on a federal level, we sent money down through the county. So if you've seen those housing assistant programs, that has been federal dollars we sent in. After I spoke with Marcia Fudge, we not only allocated $7.4 million into building new affordable housing, not just traditional buildings that you see, but also single family houses, because we understand that having a single family house is one of the best ways for us to have neighborhoods that are actually on the come up instead of having buildings where we're forcing people into little apartments, especially now that we know we have multi-generational families who actually deserve to age in dignity. So having that single family home where people can actually rent to own or come in with a lot of different processes are actually exceptional. But how I was able to go further, I said, we just can't look at HUD because everybody's looking at HUD. What other agencies have money, or could we pull money to help with our housing? Because building housing here is not just a simple building the housing, but you also have to create seawalls. You also have to do a lot of infrastructure, sewage. We have a lot of backup here. So that's where we started tapping into the infrastructure bill, the infrastructure projects, so we can start working on infrastructure, but also real infrastructure does include people. And we need people to do this work, and we need people to get the contract. Then we also went to the Department of Treasury. From the Department of Treasury, we actually diverted $676 million into our district so we can build more. In addition to that, we're working with the EPA, and we're going to have the EPA coming into Palm Beach at the end of this month, so we could talk about how we can use the environmental protection agencies who have two departments that really touch our district. The first department is the civil rights, which actually allocates funding for people who have been traditionally discriminated against, which is us, Black people, and their environmental protections, housing, sustainability, water, all under it. So we're using that money also. Then they also have a different department, which is environmental justice. And that deals with discrepancies when it comes to weatherization, climate resistance. That's another part that people don't realize. That's more money to go to your housing and refurbishing. But I think one of the proudest moments we had was 2 days ago when we had the Vice President Kamala Harris, who came into the state, and we stood there and we made the announcement that we're going to be investing over $100 billion, most of that coming to the state of Florida, into our district for climate resiliency. Back again, that comes down to making sure our homes are resilient, rebuilding our homes. So I looked at every single avenue that I could pull money in, not just the traditional, to make sure we're bringing that into our district.
I don't even know what to say. Listen, I see what you do. I do. And that's why, I'm adamant about, yes, I support you, because I have not seen anyone work like you do. I see that you have a passion for serving our community, which I really want people to understand. But after you win, because there's an election in a few weeks, got to have more town halls, because the miseducation related to, and that's what you've been doing. It's just we really need to improve that in our communities. If they knew about stuff, because a lot of times we miss out because they don't even know, and
Yeah.
you've been doing good on having these things and then making the process simple. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you. The process has been exciting. And, we always have to know that new levels come new devils, right? And when I ran for Congress, I always say we, and people are like, who's we? And I'm like, my team. When we ran for Congress, because it was all of us, one of the things that we noticed is we said, you know what, everybody's prioritizing Broward. Everybody's running, and they're promising all these people from Broward, they're going to do all this for Broward. So we were very intentional. Majority of my team came out of Palm Beach. And we were honest about our commitment. We committed to Palm Beach, and we gave Palm Beach the attention that it needed. And if you look at my senior staff, they're out of Palm Beach. So I understand that now that we, rewrote the method, right, to winning, and that method means you prioritize everybody and you lean into Palm Beach because there's so much opportunity. We're going to have people who come and now try to sell a story to Palm Beach. But the truth is, where were you last election? Last election, you didn't even come to Palm Beach. Last election, you weren't even trying to talk to the people in Palm Beach, in Riviera. You ignored them. You didn't even try to hire any team. I mean, this is the second rodeo. So you can't wake up today and be like, oh, I'm going to be there for Palm Beach. Well, you totally ignored Palm Beach. So we've always been there with Palm Beach, standing with Palm Beach, having the conversations with Riviera. We started in Riviera. That was our base. But we were hitting the doors. So my heart has always been where it is. Nothing has changed about me or who I am and my commitment. But, new people will come in and start singing a new song. But we saw where your heart was in the beginning, and it wasn't here. So I think as we're moving forward, we just got to be ready for all these new things that are coming, because with the help of Palm Beach, we literally rewrote the playbook. We rewrote it. That if you're going to be a member of Congress in District 20, you can't just prioritize Broward. Palm Beach is on the map. Broward is on the map. And everybody needs to win together. Everybody needs buy-in. And I'm proud that we set that standard. And we'll keep resetting that standard. And we know that there'll be copycats, but we'll win then too, because we're a family and we know how to do this.
Thank you. Listen, I don't know. I know you have to do these interviews all day and you're on the go, but I feel honored that you took time to talk with me, and that I get to take this and share with others and let them know, like, you get to hear it from our Congresswoman herself. So I thank you for this moment. Any closing comments for those that are listening? Because you got an election in a week or two that you're about to win.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank everybody for, supporting me, coming out and voting. And I also want to bring something to the attention of everybody in Palm Beach. It has been a proven fact that when you have negative, nasty elections, that what it does is actually suppress voter turnout. Now, all these signs that you're seeing all in Palm Beach, you do not see them in Broward, because the truth is my competitor's strategy is to suppress the votes in Palm Beach and make sure that Broward votes. But we know better than that. We need to come out like we have. We need to come out and vote, and we need to ensure that we move forward. In the 7 months that I've been in Congress, we have seen the lowest numbers of unemployment. We have seen the most people who have become entrepreneurs, start businesses. We allocated over $42 billion to business owners, but we've also been fighting to make sure that these contracts come down into the district, and I've been fighting to allocate money into the district, and we've been successful. At the end of the day, I ran because I saw that we needed change, and I wanted to give back to the community that loved me and embraced me. And Riviera has been that. Palm Beach County has definitely done that. And so I'm here to serve. And if you look at our team here is on the ground. We're serving. We have town halls, and the work isn't done, because as quickly as we advanced economics, we saw that inflation started wrestling with us and pulling us back. Right now, we have gas prices coming down, and we have much more work to do with housing. It's not enough for us to allocate the money. I need you to reelect me so we can make sure it gets into the right hands. I've done this before. I've made sure that we had contracts coming into the community. We've helped people build wealth, but we've also helped seniors actually provide a life with dignity through healthcare, through programs. And that's what this is about. This is about the hard work that we need to do as a single mother, as someone who was a single mother, as a woman who now has a son and a husband. I know how important that it is for the entire family to come up and prosper, especially in the entire family that looks like us. And that's why I fight so hard. So thank you so much for having me here today. And I look forward to seeing you.
All right. Well, thank you for that blueprint, and thank you for all that you do on behalf of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, and even the people in Broward, the people in Washington. Thank you for everything you're doing. So stay tight. But hey, go out. Make sure you guys vote for our Congresswoman, Sheila McCormick, who I endorse fully, 100%. Thank you.